Hello, and welcome back to the Freelancers Tea Break, the short and sweet podcast you can enjoy whilst you're making a cuppa. This one is for those of you with ADHD or who you suspect you are, but I feel like lots of these tools are useful for everyone. So, stay tuned. You might find there's something here that's useful. And this is a lot of my favourite tech, so I think you might find some of it useful. So, I wanted to kick off with ChatGPT. I'm sighing there because I know a few episodes ago I talked about AI and how it's killing creativity. And I've just said this to someone on a coaching call, actually. AI is not for content. It's not for creating content. It's for processes and systems. And I think this is where it goes in well. So one of the things I do with ChatGPT is I've trained it on Jessie J. Anderson's 4 C's of motivation. Although I don't call it the 4 C's of motivation. It's essentially, if I'm trying to get motivated to do something, I either have to make it fun, novel, competitive, or urgent. Urgent tends to be the default for a lot of ADHDers. It tends to be deadlines, and a lot of ADHD people can only get started on something when the deadline is very close. That's kind of the default. But learning that fun, novelty, and competitiveness can all make it easy to do it earlier on, so there's less stress, has been a bit of a game changer for me. So I've kind of taught ChatGPT that's all about that. So now if I have a list of tasks, it will help me reframe some of those. So it might make some suggestions about other ways I could approach it, or just remind me of some fun ways to do it, especially if there's things I've talked about in the past. So as a freelancer, it's really, really useful for that. I can use it for personal stuff as well, like, cleaning the house or whatever. But if I have some particularly dull admin tasks that need doing, and I'm really struggling to get motivated, I use ChatGPT for that side of things. But I do really recommend Jessie J. Anderson's book, which I have forgotten the name of, but I will put in the show notes. Excellent book with lots and lots of very good strategies about ADHD, and it's a really lovely, small, thin book, so it won't be one of those ones that sits on your desk for ages. It's one of those ones where you open it up and there's a different thing, like a different strategy you can try each time. So number one is ChatGPT. I use it in lots of different ways, but I am trying to consciously not use it for content creation, but for using it for processes and that kind of thing, or just reframing things for me. Number 2, Notion. Huge Notion fan. Over the last few months, I've moved all of my meeting notes to Notion because it's just so much easier. Notion, if you've never heard of it, is like a Wikipedia of your own business. So you've got different pages for different things in your business, but you can make it as colourful or fun or minimal as you like. You can add in lots of different things. You can embed things. There's tables, there's databases, there's images. So I have one big hub for my business, which everyone on my team has access to, so they can see the content I have planned for podcasts and newsletters and where I'm at with my goals. I track all of my social media numbers and sort of mailing lists and podcast numbers and all those kind of things in there. I've got my standard operating procedures in there. It's my second brain. It is all the things that I don't want to hold in my brain all the time. I put it in Notion, and I don't just use it for business. I use it for Christmas planning, holiday planning, birthday planning, all sorts of different things in there. I've got a whole page of my favorite menus, recipes that I really like using. And I've got a page where I can drop in menu planning for the day and just tag in those recipes. It's just very, very useful. And a lot of my clients have now started to use it as well, because it's really good to use as a team tool. And the basic model is free. If you want things like AI and a few of the extra elements, then you do have to pay for those, but you can definitely start for free and get a lot of use out of it. The third one is Sunsama. I have mentioned Sunsama a lot in the past. I love it. I've been using it for several years now. Sunsama, I open it up and I've got my to-do list on one side. I've got my inbox, so all my emails, and I can move those emails into my to-do list and transform them into tasks, and it will archive it from my inbox. So it's my number one tool for staying on top of my inbox, or at least not getting completely drowned by it. And then you've got the calendar in there as well, so that once you've got your tasks, you can then pop it into your calendar so you've got it blocked out. And they have loads of different functions on there. They've got, when you put your to-do list in there, it can use AI to suggest when you might be able to do these things. But my favourite bit is that it tells me off if I put too much in my to-do list, and says, you can't do this, you don't have the time. And that's a really good way for me to be like, okay, so which of these items do I not need to do anymore? So Sunsama is fantastic. Again, I'll put the links for all of these things in the show notes. Okay, number 4 is one I think everybody should have, but especially those people who can barely see the words of each tab on their browser at the moment because they have so many browser tabs open. You need OneTab. It's free. It's a browser extension. I use it in Chrome. What you do is you tap it and it collapses all of those tabs into a list of tabs, like a one page with a list of the tabs. And then you can go and see which ones do I need to reopen. And you'll be surprised how few you need to reopen. But it also creates a history. So you could one tab every day and go back and see what you were looking on Wednesday, looking at on Wednesday. It's just so much easier. And whenever my computer is running slow, I'm like, immediately one tab. Okay, much easier now. So it's a very, very useful tool and it's free. If you are like me with your phone and not very good with your phone, essentially, if you are someone like me who is a bit addicted to their phone and you need to restrict it, but equally you have a business to run, I really recommend a tool called BePresent. Well, it's actually an app on the iPhone. So what it does is it allows me to create blocks for certain apps, but it limits how many times I can open that app, and I can choose that, and how often I can, how long I can use it for. For me to just say, I'm just going to block Facebook, I can't do that. I have to use Facebook. But to know that I can only open the Facebook app, say 7 or 8 times in one day. Well, I think actually I've deleted the Facebook app on my phone. I only can go on the desktop version, the browser version now, which has helped even more. But this helped me ease down into that. But for example, for Instagram, I can only open the Instagram app 8 times in one day. Technically, I can override that, but there's a streak and I don't want to break the streak. Plus, you get the points that you can use on certain things if you keep going with a streak. So I can only open it 8 times for 5 minutes a day, and it just makes me more aware of how much time I'm spending on Instagram. But also, if I look at there and I say I've only got like 3 sessions left that I can use for the day, I'm going to be much more mindful about it. So BePresent is a fantastic one for that. And you can do different limits for different things. I think you can limit it by the day as well, like when you're going to do it. And then they have some rewards for things like you can get 3 free audiobooks on audiobooks.com and 30 days of free guided meditations on Headspace and a Whoop band for free. They're not necessarily the most exciting gifts. I wish they had a few better ones, but they are very, very useful for limiting your time on the phone. Right, the next one is Notability. Now, I know a lot of people really, really love using Remarkables, which are like a tablet you can use to write on, and you can keep all your notes in there and everything like that. They're quite pricey though, and if you already have an iPad or an iPhone, I would recommend the Notability app. As long as you've got like an Apple Pencil or something, and you can get them quite cheap, not the actual Apple Pencils, but varieties of it on Amazon. You can then write all your notes on there, but it will also record the audio if you want to. So it's very, very handy for, say you're visiting, like you're at someone's networking event and someone's doing a talk. You can click the audio bit to record that and then write along notes. So it's really handy. You can bring in images, all sorts of different things. Now, I have to be honest, I haven't used Notability as much since a lot of sort of AI tools have come in for note-taking, but I think it's a really worthwhile tool if you are someone that likes handwriting notes, but you have 475 notebooks and you don't know where any of them are. It just makes it easier to scan through. And my final one is Speechify. I think this is such a handy app for anyone with ADHD. Essentially, it turns anything that's text in your phone or your iPad or your desktop into, well, it will read it out to you. And you can choose different voices. If you pay, there's like all sorts of celebrity voices and stuff like that. But the free version is just as good. I find it most useful when I'm going through my inbox and there are some longer newsletters that I want to listen to. So I will usually press play and then listen to it whilst I'm making a cup of tea or something like that. So it really helps with the ADHD thing of it almost being like a podcast. So you can have it as a plugin and things like that. It will also, if you've got a Kindle app on your phone, it can read out some of the Kindle books for you. So that's really handy as well. You just have to play around with the voices and see which one's the least robotic. I would much rather choose an Audible voiceover one, but for non-fiction, I'm not as worried about character voices and things like that. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. So those are just a few of the apps that or the apps and tools that I really find useful as an ADHDer. If you want to find out, or if you want me to talk a bit more about other ADHD things that I find useful, whether it's reframes or anything like that, do let me know. Come on over to the Facebook group, Freelance Lifestylers, the Discord, or find me on Instagram, Emma Cossey, and let me know what you'd love to hear about, and I would be more than happy to record an episode on it. I hope you have a wonderful freelance week.